Welcome. 18th of February, 9:45 a.m. The Old Bailey. Defendant's antechamber.
Yeah, it looks familiar.
Yeah, it always does. Thank goodness we're in time. There's still
Except
15.
they're British.
Yeah, one has a mustache. How quaint. There's still 15 minutes until the trial. I wish I could grow facial hair. I never knew a horse-cart and drawn carriage could go so fast. I thought my teeth were going to rattle loose. Did you hear what I said to the driver when we climbed aboard? Get us to our destination in 5 minutes, driver, and there's a guinea in it for you. A guinea? It's one of my favorite lines from the Sherlock Holmes stories, and it worked quite perfectly. Not sure why you're so pleased. I thought we were going to die, and we had to pay gold for the privilege. Well, at least we arrived here before the trial started. Yeah, I suppose there's that. You got us here before with plenty of time to spare. The clerk said that the defendant should be here, but there's no sign of him at all. It's because he's already dead. We're defending a dead body. So this is the Old Bailey. Even the room for defendants to wait in is grand. Are you alright, Mr. Naruto? I'm feeling tense, that's all. This place gives me the same sense of foreboding that I remember from the Supreme Court in Japan. An oppressive air, almost as if the building itself is going to crush whoever's about to be sentenced. Feels like only yesterday that I was the one about to be crushed. Yes, whoever the man you're about to defend is, I imagine he's feeling very alone at this moment. Top of the morning to you, madam, sir. Hello. Sir? What are you doing here, following me here? Things are a fair bit desperate, aren't they?
I assume that's who you're defending.
Yeah, definitely. Would you look at their expressionless faces? From the East, are yous? We're from Japan, yes. Ah, Japan, is it? Right, say no more. So, how much do you need? No, we're just here because... No need to explain, fella. I've been there to meet myself, so I have. No place to go, nothing to eat, barely a penny to your name, and all the while in a strange, faraway land. I come from the faraway land of Ireland. Well, actually, we haven't found a place to stay yet, no. It's like, 'tis grand. Let me start by giving you 1,000 guineas. Say nothing now. Huh, 1,000 guineas? Please, Mr. Sato, you don't have to shout. But 1,000 guineas is like 1,000 carriage rides at 5 minutes apiece. It's enough to build an entire mansion in the most prestigious area of Tokyo. What? 'Tis nothing to me at all. I like to ensure I have sufficient funds to weather a rainy day, you see. I have enough wealth to buy the city of London 2 or 3 times over. Could that much rain even fall in one day? Well, even so, we couldn't possibly accept such a large sum of money. Ah, that hit me in the eye. Don't get me wrong, fella. I'm not giving it to you, no strings attached. I'll be wanting you to do something for me. Oh? To be honest, 'tis a little embarrassing. The trial that's about to begin, you see, is for me good self here. I'll be in the dock. So now, what I want you to do is come along with me and stand there beside me. Officially, you'd be my lawyer, but that's just a little detail now. Oh, well, the thing is... Don't you worry about a thing. All you gotta do is stand up there next to me. Nothing more. Otherwise, you see, the trial is gonna start without me having any kind of representation at all. So it was true. The Lord Chief Justice wasn't just making it all up. This guy is certainly a character. I'm terribly sorry to have to ask this, but does that mean you're the defendant in this trial? Those are some big fancy words there, young lady. Bluster and blazes, do yous not know who I am? Me? One of London's biggest names? No, sorry. We've only just arrived in the city, you see. You already figured out that we were foreigners, so, I mean, you should know that. Ah, see, I suppose it isn't altogether impossible. Well, next to Hyde Park, there is a centre in London, is another beautiful park. Sorry, a park? What? It's called McGillicuddy Park. Full of blossoming flowers in the spring and singing birds and whatnot. I donated to the city, I did. An entire park? In central London? Wait, how did you own the park before?
Probably just owned the land.
A city of smiles, that's my vision for London. There's nothing Magnus McGilded wouldn't do for the city and its queer old... queer old people. That's an interesting turn of phrase. I mean, really extraordinary. Ah, but now they've got a gall to say I'm a good-for-nothing criminal. Me, Magnus McGilded. What is the matter with the London police, I ask ya? Alright, don't pass out. Mr. Naruto? His hat is so big and floppy. Perhaps now would be a good time to introduce ourselves while the gentleman catches his breath. Good idea. Boop. Mr. McGilded, the thing is, we're actually here in London to study British law. We're law students on a study tour from Japan, you see. So, if you don't have a lawyer for the trial yet, and you'd be happy to put yourself in our hands, we'd do our best. What was I after saying, you daft idiot? I've given you 1,000 guineas to stand up there next to me, haven't you? Yes, but I wasn't really offering to just stand up there next to you. Oh, I think I see what's going on here. Sorry? I know what you're thinking. This chancer of a feller seems to have more money than the Queen. But if that's true, why the blazes can't he find the finest follower in all England? Because he did it, that's the only explanation. Well. Well.
Not exactly.
Not exactly. Not at all, although it is a little strange, to be honest. Why you don't have a lawyer, I mean. That would be the fault of the Reaper. Sorry? Did he just say Reaper? Aye, the Grim Reaper of the Brayley, Lord Beric von Zeeks. He's the prosecutor. I think we meet his descendant in the Leighton spin-off. Something like that. The prosecutor is the Grim Reaper? Aye. When Van Zeeks stands for the prosecution, they call the accused his sacrificial lambs. And to this day, in every single trial in which he's been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned. What? He only takes on murder trials, you see, so it's always... They always get hanged. So it's reached the desperate situation where there's no one willing to stand in defense against the fellow at all. You could say he's a living legend of the Old Bailey. Goodness. Lord Beric von Zeeks. He must be an exceptionally talented prosecutor, then. Talented isn't the word you're looking for, madam. It's cursed. Cursed. Cursed? What on earth? The defendant is summoned, and his counsel. Please make your way to the courtroom. The trial is about to begin. His counsel. That would be me. Oh, 'tis time. Well then, fella, don't let me down. But I don't know anything about the case. You haven't told me what happened. Until you showed your face here, I'd made up my mind, so I had. Sorry? I decided I'd have to defend myself in there. How would that have worked? Well, dude, you did it before. Then you have made an appearance. A student of law, what did you know? 'Tis no accident, I can assure you of that. 'Tis fate. So don't get cold feet now, please. I literally know nothing about the case, or about this man who stands accused. In fact, the only thing I do know is that I can't just turn my back on him. Mr. Naruto, the man has no one. He'll have to stand alone in that courtroom, armed with nothing to defend himself. Yeah, something that Cosmo would never have allowed. We're not seriously doing the moral quandary here. We already came here because we wanted to defend him. Counsel to defense, what are you doing? If you're late for the start of the trial, you will lose your right to stand. Bonk.
Excuse me.
I'll be right there.
Excuse me.
You're squeezed. It's happening then. My first trial in a British court. I hope you're watching over me, Kazuma. Because
I think I'm gonna throw up.
I have no idea how I'm going to manage this. "10 a.m. Precisely on schedule." So this is the highest court in Great Britain. The Old Bailey. The centuries of history in this place are palpable, isn't it? It's so different to the Supreme Court in Japan. It feels both imposing and serene at the same time. The atmosphere almost makes words redundant. Whatever the country, determining a person's guilt or innocence is always a solemn affair. May I say something, Mr. Naruto? No, shut up. Oh, what? Your eyes look ready to pop out of your head again. I know, but I just can't help it. Hello. I'm an old man. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We are here today to determine the guilt or innocence of Mr. Magnus McGilded. I will now call upon the counsels of the prosecution and defense to declare your willingness to proceed. The prosecution is fully prepared. That must be the Reaper of the Bailey. He really does look fully prepared to dispatch his next poor victim to the underworld. Counsel for the defense, you appear to be Eastern. You speak English? Huh? Oh, yes, of course. Sorry. But he asked if the defense was ready, and I couldn't be further from ready if I tried. Those eyes please me, Nipponese. They shroud your fear, your doubt, your trepidation. They run wild, clinging to some phantom notion of courage. The quintessential look of a sacrificial lamb. A cold shiver just ran down my spine all the way to the tips of my toes. Now, Mr. McGilded. Yes, me lord. You stand accused of murder, a capital offense. You could be sent to the gallows if found guilty. Are you quite sure you wish to entrust your defense to this foreigner? As I've always said, me lord, 'tis a grand thing to give opportunities to the young. Even if the fellow's a student of some little island off in the Far East. Is it not the British way to ignore the dangers to yourself and give to the... Kristen, is it not the British way to ignore the dangers to yourself and give those less fortunate a fair chance? No. No, it's not.
Yeah.
No. I like to think that the acts of chivalry do the great British Empire proud. Listen to Mr. McGilded. What a fine gentleman London has in him. Do you hear that he donated £5,000 to the government the other day? Mother, please play with me. Please, may we go and play in Mr. McGilded's park? Seems as though everyone in the public gallery is firmly behind Mr. McGilded. That's definitely welcome news, and he certainly has a way with words. I'm surprised he couldn't convince anyone to defend him. Very well. Eloquently put, Mr. McGilded, and most laudable sentiments. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm sure I need hardly remind you that you 6 members of the public have been selected for your impartiality. Are you ready to proceed? Oh boy, there's 6 of them. Aye, my lord, if the task is to send rutters to the gallows where they belong, I'm more than ready. At the manor, his lordship always says we should dispose of rubbish promptly. Naturally, I agree. Huh, any criminals here will be wishing they never set eyes on me. Oh. I feel chill. Oh, don't mind me, my dears. I'll just be getting on with my knitting. Must finish these mitts for my grandson. Mr. Naruto, these people are... The jury, yes. That's something we don't have in Japan yet. That's right, I've only ever read about it. But here in Great Britain, the court's final verdict depends on the opinions of these 6 jurors. The judge passes sentence according to the law, but the jurors determine guilt based on common sense. Huh? Okay. So the defendant is ultimately judged from 2 completely different points of view. But how exactly do the jurors give their verdict? I don't know. That I don't know. But I'm sure it will become clear as the trial progresses. Yeah. Prosecutor Van Zieks? My lord. It's been a number of years since we've seen you here in the courtroom. I thought you'd renounce your fame. I'm known as the Reaper of the Bailey, my lord. Infamy rather than fame, I would say. But yes, 5 years have passed since I last spread my wings in this capacity. So what brings you back? Is there some change of circumstance of which the court should be made aware?
The one killed was my beloved.
I also have a sword. Let that be your explanation for the evening. So you just wanted to fight somebody with a sword? Okay.
Mommy!
Why did you choose today of all days to make a comeback? Dang it, I missed. I don't have anything else to throw at you. Bounce. Don't lose heart, Mr. Naruto. Alright, well, we'll do okay, well, as you wish, sir. The court nevertheless welcomes your return. Now then, opening statements, I think. A summary of the case, if you please. Certainly, my lord. As your lordship is aware, this is a case of overwhelming simplicity. And we'll figure out what that simplicity is next time. I said next time. It is I, Baron Von Zieks. Thank you for joining me for Side by Side Plays. I'm Shikuquaza.
I'm Waifu.
And next time we'll be continuing the case of the old room. The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles.